really excited about this stuff.
Because there in the shades of gray at the intersection is where change in life.
Welcome to the Ask Dan Ram Show. Let's go. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? My name is Dan Ram, and this is the Ask Dan Ram Show, and this is the very first episode of the Ask Dan Ram Show. It's a weekly vlog where I answer your questions that are coming in to hashtag Ask Dan Ram, and there's one particular question that I really love this week. I was captivated by it, and the question is, Dan, did you fake it till you made it? I'm just gonna lay my cards on the deck here. One, I don't think I've made it. Two, not only did I fake it, I'm still faking it. But hey, let me clarify before you get all uppity on me. It's only been a couple years I've been calling myself an entrepreneur. Before that, I was an employee working for big companies. I worked for the UN, I worked for World Vision, I worked for KPMG, I worked for Jindal Steels. And then I came to Ireland, and 4 years ago, out of necessity, which I'll touch upon soon, I became an entrepreneur. Have I made it? In some ways, yes. I feel really blessed that I was one of 7 advisors to the Irish government that put together policy on entrepreneurship. That's awesome. I've also got to start, mentor, coach, collaborate on multiple startups, literally hundreds at this point, both here in Ireland and around the world. I lecture on entrepreneurship in the universities. I speak at some of the biggest accelerators and some of the best startup events. So in some ways, it looks like I've made it. But the truth is, to get there, I had to fake it because I'm not a career entrepreneur. I didn't grow up in an entrepreneurial family. Not only that, I think faking it is really powerful. In fact, so powerful that I want to dedicate this episode to sharing with you 3 top tips on how you can fake it really well. Number 1, be clueless. It's this attitude of fire first, then aim. And the whole concept of that is start now, start simple. Just start doing stuff. Just start building. Don't wait on things. And being clueless is important because it forces you to ask questions. Now, the son of a diplomat, this is country number 10 for me to live in Ireland. Every 2.5 years, I found myself entirely clueless in a new country with a new language, a new religion, new everything around me, and I had to figure things out. I've brought that same attitude of asking questions, of learning, of absorbing into the startup world as well. So be clueless. Number 2, be poor. And what I mean by that is learn to bootstrap. I'm going to do an episode really soon on how you can build a startup with little or no resources. But being poor is really important because it helps you and forces you to be creative with the resources you do have. A couple years ago, I built my first startup, and the idea was 100 people, and I raised a budget of about €1,000 to run an event for 100 people. With that same budget, the event had over 300,000 people that came to it. So that's what bootstrapping is when you use your network, your resources, your abilities to build something. A lot of people wait for funding. Funding is important, but you know when funding really comes? When you're past just the idea, because everyone's got an idea. When you've got idea and traction because of bootstrapping, that's when real money starts coming in. And number 3, be hungry. Being hungry is so important because it's true to my life as well. I have 2 degrees. I have an economics degree and an MBA. And despite that, when I came here and after I did my MBA at Trinity College, I applied for hundreds of jobs. Do you know how many interviews I got? 1. Do you know how many jobs I got? 0. I didn't just want to become an entrepreneur because it was cool. In fact, in the recession, nothing was really cool over here. I became an entrepreneur because I had to become an entrepreneur. I had hardly any money in the bank account. I needed to make something happen. Being hungry is so valuable because it gives you an unquenchable thirst to never return to that place again. A need and a desire to make it, to find a way to succeed. So I think being hungry is so valuable. So I hope I've made a convincing argument as to not only why I used to fake it in order to get to where I am today, but even in new situations, new startups that I'm building every single day, I find it so valuable to put these 3 things of being clueless, being poor, and being hungry into play. All right, welcome to the Dan Ram moment. And this is just a moment to encourage some of you, and I am really encouraged by these guys. Real quick, names.
Janine. Jamima.
Alan.
Daniel.
Angela.
Not to be confused with me, Daniel. But these guys have got their own startup. Yes, they're secondary school students. Yes, it's summertime. And yes, they're working on their startup. Their startup is called Stoocher, which means?
Student future.
Boom, put together. Check that out. So, do follow Stoocher. But what I'm encouraged by is the fact that even though it's summertime, even though they could be sleeping in, playing video games, Pokemon Go, hey, any of those things, which maybe they do on the side as well. I love that since 9 o'clock this morning, they have been determined, loyal, getting good interviews in, shadowing what we're doing as entrepreneurs, and just learning and absorbing. This is super encouraging to me. So thank you guys for encouraging me. along my journey as well. But to any of you who are watching and going like, I should do something, here you go. There's your role models right now. So check out Stucher and do something. This is Chandrika. Your last name is really interesting.
Chandrika Narayanan Mohan. That's my last name.
That last name for Indians is familiar because...
Well, yeah, my grandfather was K.R. Narayanan, and he happened to be president of India.
Yeah, no
years ago.
biggie
Yes,
at all.
No big
Yeah.
deal.
So what's the granddaughter of a president? Prime Minister? President?
President.
Doing here in Ireland? What's going on?
Did an art history and literature degree, and I've always wanted a career in the arts. So I've been studying and working all the way up until now, where I am arts and culture manager of the liquor rooms.
And we've been talking about fake it till you make it. Before you got to this amazing title, did you have to fake it till you made it?
Absolutely. So when you're a student in the recession, you've graduated and you have a great CV of how well you did in your essays, but you have very limited to little or no experience whatsoever. And I found as an immigrant as well, you have to be twice as great as anyone else. So you've got a lot against you as a graduate, graduating the recession, especially if you're in the humanities. So a big part of that is faking it till you make it and learning how to use all those transferable skills and basically trying to convince someone to hire you. So the main part of that is to work incredibly hard, and there is a fine line between blagging and not knowing what you're actually, like really not knowing what you're doing, and faking it till you make it. And I think that distinction is really important. So when you're trying to get into a job market, when you're at such a disadvantage, there are a lot of really good tips and tricks that you should use. Yeah. And like for me, a really big part of it is watching and listening first, like absorbing information, writing down everything. Don't think that you're going to remember it. You won't. You absolutely won't. People will like seeing you write things down. Being kind and respectful to everyone, making friends with as many people as possible, being friends with the security, the doormen for everywhere, always good. Get to know everyone in a part of a company and they will respect you a lot more. And when you start learning fast, writing things down, delivering quickly, you're going to build a lot of confidence in yourself. So my first 2 weeks here, I was hired as arts and culture manager, and it was more about talking to the community. I'd never done events planning in my entire life, and within my first 2 weeks I had to run their first birthday party with a few hundred people and about like 7 performers throughout this entire venue, like an immersive experience. And I've never run an event before in my entire life, so what I did was just ask questions, asked for advice, got help, made sure that I worked with the entire team, and managed to pull it off, and it was great. And now I actually run events, and that was so much fun, and it just felt like, well, if I did that, I can do it again. And I actually ended up becoming the co-founder of the Irish Craft Cocktail Awards, where me and 2 others run an entire awards ceremony, and we're in our 3rd year now.
That's phenomenal. Such an encouraging story. And that's what we hope to do with these episodes, is to bring stories, everyday people trying to do extraordinary things, like Chandrika. So thanks for sharing your story. And so if you'd like to feature in this, and more importantly, if you want to ask questions, hashtag AskDanRam. You can find me on iamdanram.com or look up iamdanram on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, any of those sources. And then just send a question to hashtag AskDanRam. We'd love to answer your questions. Until next week, start now, start simple.